Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Manxiety Podcast.
We're your hosts, Ashad and Matt. Before we get started, if you're enjoying this show, please subscribe so you can get notified of new episodes.
If you want to share this with your friends, you can find us on all podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Get my podcast name out of your beeping mouth.
Why did you beep yourself? You don't have to. We could do that in post, bro. What are you doing?
I don't know, man. I just, I want to make our lives easier and just beep it out right now.
I guess to be fair, like, fucking and beeping are the same syllables, so you're okay.
Now I gotta beep you out. This is a family-friendly show.
You're not
man.
beeping me, you piece of shit.
This is a family-friendly show.
Is
Children, listen to this.
Probably, dude.
I hope not. That's all the crap we talk about. But today we're talking about the rich and famous.
And not the Good Charlotte song.
I mean, we can talk about the Good Charlotte song too.
They had some
Why
bangers, dude. They had some bangers.
Yeah. But no, we are indeed talking about mainly this stemmed from what happened at the Oscars, which if you haven't heard, you're probably living under a rock. Under a rock. So if you've heard, that would have been kind of funny for you. Me and Matt are giggling a little bit. But Will Smith got up and slapped Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars. And then went and sat down after Chris Rock had made a joke about Will's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. And then Will won an Oscar, and everyone got up and clapped for him and gave him a standing ovation. And he got up on stage and cried a little bit and talked about how God's mission for him is to spread love and joy and happiness or something along those lines. So I give you the rich and famous. Only they can get away with doing some bullshit like that.
Wait. Do we know if Chris Rock is a masochist? Because maybe that was him spreading joy 20 minutes or 10 minutes early or whatever, right when he slapped him.
No, that's very true. He did have a weird look on his face, like he was enjoying it.
I think he had the look like just of like utter disbelief mixed with like,
oh, for sure,
I'm just gonna smile through this because I don't want to fucking like get fired from taking you or trying to fight you or whatever. Like, plus like
get fired.
Will Smith
I think
is so much bigger than Chris Rock.
Is he? I don't know. I don't think so. I think
like
Chris
he
Rock's
is.
was more like, do I really want to ruin this whole show by smacking Will back? But he kept his composure. I mean, more power to him. He that was impressive. Taking a slap and then just, the show must go on. That's a real showman, right? Like a real entertainer to be able to take something like that and then move on. And it also takes a lot of strength, right? Like emotional and mental health strength. Like, imagine if someone came and slapped you on stage and you either get super mad, right? Like react and become very reactive and just like slap them back or get in a big fight. Or, kind of the opposite, you maybe start overthinking it, start getting anxious because you're on live TV with millions of people watching and, thousands of people sitting there in the auditorium watching you as well. But yeah, I think that just shows that Chris Rock, has his shit together, at least in some sense, that he was able to kind of take that, play it off, and continue the show.
Yeah, it's definitely like a weird series of events, I feel like, because I didn't watch the actual thing live, so I don't know like the timeline between when the joke was made versus when he started walking up there. Because I kind of imagine it like somebody's walking up, you just expect him to grab the mic like Kanye did a few years ago and like yell about Taylor Swift or whatever, right?
Here,
Like,
here,
oh, somebody's gonna
paint,
like.
yeah. No, I'll paint the story for you. All right. Chris Rock is up there making jokes. Love you, Will. Yada yada yada. Makes a joke. Jada, I'll see you in G.I. Jane 2, right? Everyone kind of laughs. Will laughs. Jada rolls her eyes. Looks at Will, looks annoyed. Will looks at Jada. Stops laughing. Looks at Chris. Walks right up to him. Slaps him. And then walks back to his seat, letting nothing happen. And then he starts yelling, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." But they beeped all of that. Unless you were in Australia. So you can find unedited versions of that.
Gotcha. So it was much quicker than I just saw like the aftermath of it, but
Oh no, it was like within 10 seconds, dude. It was like joke, like laugh for 2 seconds, walk on stage, slap, get back, yell for another 15, 20 seconds. And then Chris Rock said, "I will," and then continued with the show. But yeah, it happened in very quick succession.
gotcha. I mean, the memes have been fire. Like I did see one where it's funny they said "I will," right? But somebody said something like, I think it was like, if you walk into a room 90 with 100 people, 99 won't slap you, but one will, or something like that. So it's
There's been
it's interesting
a lot
though.
of good ones. There was another one that I saw where it was like instead of Chris Rock, it was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson up there making the joke, and then Will is just laughing the whole time. Like he wouldn't get up if it was Dwayne.
Yeah, I've seen some jokes and stuff about it, but it's interesting because at its core, we've touched a little bit on like Will Smith stuff before, where like he was on like his podcast forever with Jada and how they were talking about like their marriage and all this stuff, and he was crying. And he became a meme, right? And how like people treat celebrities, and it's interesting because we kind of treat them as if like they shouldn't be allowed to have emotions. But then we also give them so much slack when it comes to things that a normal person would get arrested for, right? Like if some random person walked up and slapped Chris Rock, people would have tackled him. It would have been like some Secret Service level shit for sure.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Like he would have been tackled, arrested, hauled off immediately, right? But when somebody does it that's famous, it's kind of like a double-edged sword of, we give him so much leeway because, he's going through a lot, whatever, or like whatever, he's just, you shouldn't make jokes, but it's also like, well, Chris Rock is a comedian, and while like he does make jokes at people's expense, like he's still trying to be funny, right? And I imagine like if Jada said something to him, or I'm sure they all know each other, of like, hey, like don't make fun of this thing that I have, right? It's a medical condition. Then he probably wouldn't have done it, right? So it is a weird thing overall because like, especially with how quick you said it happened, it'd be like me making a joke to you and then you slapping me. I'd be like, bro, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Most of the times I say jokes, you just kind of, roll your eyes or look at me funny. But if you slap me, I would be in disbelief too.
Would you? But the show must go on.
I would slap you back. There's no show here. Right?
And I would get you in a rear naked chokehold. And
Nah, we're not rehashing this. Let it go. You beat me the one time. Okay.
I did see it was interesting. A couple of interesting things. One, there was this psychologist, I believe, or something, that was talking about how a lot of the things that Will did were kind of like symptoms, or were like symptoms of a psychotic episode. Yeah, so I think it was a female psychologist, and she was saying that, kind of going from laughing and then to slapping someone, and then, a couple minutes later when he's accepting his speech, like going to crying, and then right after that, like going out and partying, like they're very indicative of some sort of psychotic episode or mental health issue. And kind of touching upon what you said, right? Celebrities are treated like they're a little bit like they're infallible, or that they can't do wrong, that they don't have feelings, that they're kind of their humanity is kind of taken away, right? They become just these things. And even though Will obviously was in the wrong in this case, like it was a moment of kind of like his emotions pushing through, and a lot of that might have been because he's never been able to do that because of that, because his humanity is kind of stripped away. He needs to put on a certain type of face or do something. Not that it was right to do so, but we kind of potentially saw his, kind of like breaking point for kind of keeping it all in. So it was interesting, and a lot of times, celebrities do have mental health issues. It's pretty widely known. There are tons and tons of celebrities who have gone. A lot of them have their own psychologist that they see, or someone for mental health, or do mental health practices. Many of them, have phases that they go through where they have breakdowns and something happens. All of this. Some of them go away from the limelight because of it, because they realize that it's affecting them so negatively, and then kind of get their figure out a better way to come back in such a way so that it doesn't affect them as much anymore. And I don't think most of us see that, right? No one wants to report about a celebrity having some sort of mental health issue. What they want to report is outbursts like this, or Britney shaving her head, or any of these like kind of very grand gestures of something being wrong. But they never want to report on the small stuff when small thing is happening, or but a lot of celebrities probably don't, because that doesn't get reported. They think all of their behavior is normal. All the small stuff that they do that no one ever condones them for. They start maybe believing that that's okay to do, and then just builds into something bigger.
Yeah, it's really interesting how even when there is a mental health issue in celebrities, it still seems it's positioned for likes and clicks and views and stuff. Like you mentioned, Britney Spears, she was going through like a tough time. Like when she shaved her head, it later became a meme, right? Like, oh my god, like when I buzzed my hair, I was like, oh, hashtag doing it for Britney, save Britney, or whatever, some dumbass thing I said, right? But like when you look at like Kanye West, like when he's like, oh, I'm off my meds and I'm doing this, and people are saying he's bipolar, we're like, oh, but like make more music, like it's we're gonna get good music from him or something. Or just any celebrity, I imagine it's like very tough, and very few people know what it's like to be that famous. And in particular, I was watching some people go back and forth with this incident, thinking whether or not it was real, because the slap kind of looked fake, right? He didn't Will is bigger than Chris Rock, so like if he hit him with full force, and then afterwards, because Chris didn't really react, it does kind of look like it's slightly fake, right? Like he kind of knew it was coming. But the thing that I guess like either would have sold it if it was fake, or like makes me think that it's not fake, I don't think it's fake now, is that he starts cussing at him, right? Like, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth, because he did like a rap album with no cussing. Like he's never cussed in any of his stuff, right? He's very in the limelight, and like you said, and very much like he's been famous since he's like 18, 17, whatever, like really young. So he knows better. And I saw this picture online where during a commercial break, his publicist, right? They handle all the PR and stuff. She came up to talk to him and was like whispering stuff in his ear. And I wonder if that kind of maybe shifted parts of the speech he ended up giving or something to say like, hey, like, show that you're going through a tough time and you're sorry and all this other stuff, right? Like really sell it because you're an actor, you can sell the emotions of it. But it's just, I don't know, it's interesting like how much of the Hollywood drama and bullshit is fake. And then because so much of it is fake, when something real happens, you don't know whether it's real or it's just, oh, he hasn't been in any big movies, so he's trying to, be on Twitter for the next news cycle or whatever.
I mean, then, he literally won an Oscar, his first Oscar.
See, I didn't even know that. I just knew that he slapped somebody. So
no, yeah, he won his first Oscar of his career for as a lead actor for playing King Richard or Richard and King Richard or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, so then it taints everything, right? And
yeah, and like you were saying, it was some people thought it was fake. To be honest, I was watching it live, and when it happened, I thought it was fake too. Like I thought it was all staged because, like you said, he kind of went up, did it, and then Chris Rock didn't really have a big reaction. But then I found the video online, and then like I slow-mo through it. I'm like, no, like he landed one on Chris. Like that wasn't a fake slap. He like, palm touched cheek. Like it happened. And I'm not talking about ass cheek, like face cheek.
the other of the cheek variant.
Yeah. I saw something the other day. It was like both ends of your digestive tract are covered with cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, I totally thought it was fake too, and like you said, it's because it is Hollywood, right? And the Oscars is something that less people are watching, and it's not as big as it used to be, so. It's very believable to say that, hey, they staged something so that they can be, talked about for the next X amount of days or weeks or whatever. It'll go down in history as the first time a presenter got slapped on stage at the Oscars. And obviously we're talking about it. We're talking about it too. So if that was the case, it worked. But the more I kind of watched that video, the more I realized that it probably wasn't staged. It looked 100% like it was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Maybe Chris Rock knew that something was coming because he told the joke and then Will got up. He probably saw him laughing because he was, closer to the stage, and then he's just like, all right, he's either going to hug me or slap me, He's probably not going to actually punch me. But
well, he couldn't punch him because Rock doesn't beat Rock. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. Paper.
Also, he's probably wearing a real suit and not one of the fake ones that they put on like Jason Statham to run around while doing action movies. You ever notice that shit? He's always wearing a suit in like every movie, jumping around doing stuff. I can't lift my arm overhead when I'm wearing a suit. Really, it's like everything's kind of like bunched.
You got to go and get
tight.
A custom tailored suit, dude. That's your problem.
Yeah, but theirs are fake, bro.
You go to the tailor and you're like, hey, I want you to make me a suit that I can star in an action movie in.
This ain't some John Wick shit, bro. I don't have any golden coins hidden in my fucking
yeah, dude.
basement.
No, they'll put areas for knives, guns, all that good stuff. Got to find the right one.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to explain that at the next wedding I go to. What are all these pockets for? Well, that's for the guns and the knives. Yeah, it's just crazy overall, right? Because if you or I did that, we'd be arrested. It'd be assault, all those things. And obviously Chris Rock can, not pursue charges. That's fine.
And he isn't. So I think the LAPD came out and said that they're investigating what happened. And they reached out to Chris Rock, and he has decided not to press charges.
Yeah. I did see an interesting thing. I think it was like a Jim Carrey interview, which like Jim Carrey's
really
also done some crazy things. Yeah, like where he was saying that he should have sued him for like $200 million because he's going to go down as a meme, like the guy that got slapped for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
I was like, that is interesting how everything kind of becomes a meme almost instantly, like any of these events. And I mean, shit, we basically memed the Russian warship go fuck yourself thing a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And I found out today there was an article that soldier that said it over the radio was actually released back to Ukraine.
Yeah, he survived.
So,
he got a Medal of Honor or something, some sort of medal.
Yeah, which is cool, But that guy's a meme. So everything's fucking memed. So, I mean, we have memes about memes that it doesn't end. It's like a black hole of attention where we just are getting sucked into it, right? That's why I can't download TikTok, because I'll do nothing but watch videos all day. But yeah, I think at any level, you're going to have mental health issues. And sometimes in celebrities, like you said, the ones that have talked a lot about their issues, well, a big issue that probably happens to a lot of them is staying in the limelight because they're used to like a Superman radiation dose of attention. So when they just go out into the sun like a normal human being, it's not enough to fulfill their pool
Ego.
that they need. Yeah. I don't want to say ego. But yeah, it's not enough to fulfill their ego. And that's why you see a lot of people acting out when they start to fade from the limelight or when they get older, because like, oh, I want people to talk about me. Right. And it is kind of a weird thing for sure, where you're like happy that people are talking about you, but you don't know the people that are talking about you. You're just like, people are talking about me. It's an amazing day, but like you don't actually know most of those people.
Well, it's like kind of like that bump of serotonin you get when someone likes your Instagram post, right, or retweets your tweet, or shares your Facebook or post or whatever it is. I mean, some of them are obviously going to be your friends, but then there's others that aren't. And when you don't get it, you feel kind of like crap. So imagine being a celebrity who gets, thousands, hundreds of thousands of likes every time they post something, and then you get older, or you kind of haven't posted in a while or haven't done something, and then you post something and you get very few likes, and you're like, it doesn't feel right. I got to do something to get back to that level.
Yeah. Could you imagine going from 5 million likes to 4 million? Oh my God, what a fucking loser. But, or the 5 million likes on Instagram to like 100,000, right? Like a fraction of what you were getting. That's got to be kind of crazy when you think about it, especially when your reach is in the millions. Right. It's almost, it's such a big number that you can't think of the scale of it, right? Like, big stadiums fill 140,000 people, like some of the biggest stadiums we have, maybe 200,000 people, right? You multiply that across like 5 million likes is probably like cities, like major metropolitan cities. It's like if every single person in the city was just pull out their phone and hit like, that's what you would have, which is crazy when you think about it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm I guess we kind of see this in a microdose. If we get like X amount of downloads a week and then it goes down, we're like, we're bad people. We need to change our podcast. And then next week it's double and we're like, we're the best ever.
I mean, that's you and your ego. I don't react in that way. Never.
I actually don't ever look at the count.
I look at it every time we record.
Oh. I mean, my thing has always been like, as long as what we are doing helps one other person and we've made a positive impact on at least one life, that's all that like I care. I mean, I want it to be more, of course, right? I want to help as many people as possible. But if it's just one other person, like I think that's, if every person did that and they helped one person instead of trying to cut them down or slap them on stage or, whatever else, we'd be a lot more understanding. And like really 2 wrongs don't make a right. Like you could say, Chris Rock shouldn't have made that joke about Jada. You could say Will shouldn't have slapped him. But at the end of the day, I think like we should look at both of their actions and try to just do better, next time. Right. So when it comes to talking about people where, because I've heard the thing about alopecia where it's like it's an autoimmune disease, right? It's not like a runny nose that you have a cold or whatever, right? It's something that it probably sucks that she's going through it, right? And to make fun of it is probably hurtful to her, right? But you'd have to understand that from like everybody's perspectives, and that's really tough because we're just kind of watching on the screens and seeing what's happening, and then, or like me, I don't even really know the exact timeline. I'm watching through the memes. The memes are how I get my news, you know?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, finish.
I was going to say, if I didn't know about, because I don't watch the Oscars, right? If I didn't see the memes and everybody reacting, I honestly wouldn't have even known that Jada had alopecia because I'm just not paying attention. But also, to be fair, I mean, I probably wouldn't have known anything about their lives because I don't really care about celebrities either, right? So it's kind of just like, I'm probably a bad example for the people they're targeting for their likes and clicks and views.
Oh yeah, I don't give a shit about celebrities either. I did watch the Oscars though, because I'd watched some of the movies and was interested to see.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said this where you watched all of them, right?
Not all of them, but I think I watched 4 out of the 6 or 7 Best Picture movies, something like that. 5 maybe. I don't know.
Did your pick win?
It did.
So you picked King Richard?
No, so King Richard didn't win Best Picture. Will Smith just won Best Actor or actor. Yeah.
What won Best Picture?
Coda. Very good movie on Apple TV Plus.
I have that for the next 3 months because I signed up for the trial. So
nice. Yeah, check it out, man. A really good movie. Coda. Ted Lasso was really good.
I saw a few episodes of that.
Yeah, Mythic Quest I really enjoy. But we should probably talk about these offline. Actually, our listeners are probably interested in the stuff that we watch too. But yeah, those 3 definitely very good to check out. And there's other ones too. For All Mankind is very good. C is very good. The Morning Show is pretty decent. But yeah. Going back to the topic on hand though. I think the final point I just wanted to make was, as celebrities, when you're treated differently, right? You start to act differently. So kind of going off what Matt was saying, right? If anyone else had done it, like, you would have had security there escorting you out. It would have been a whole ordeal. But I don't know what obviously the Oscars or whatever they're called, the people that run the Oscars, were thinking. They were probably thinking that they know who the winner of Best Actor is and they didn't want to kick out the guy who's going to win. I'm assuming that's what they were thinking. So they kind of just let him stay because it happened. He got that kind of right after that happened. So he hadn't gotten his Oscar yet. But at the same time, kind of this enablement, right, of this happening by other celebrities, right? Like when this happened, there wasn't, I mean, people were shocked, right? Rightly so. But you didn't see a single person stand up and go up to Will and go like, what the hell, dude, or get up and say something, speak up. And then when, Will won his Best Actor, or whatever the name of that award is, the Oscar is, everyone stood up and gave him a standing ovation. So it is kind of it is interesting to see that, all these celebrities that were there, I don't want to say they accepted it or they were okay with it, but obviously they went along with kind of what happened and didn't say much, and then, stood up for this guy that, blatantly showed violence on screen in front of millions of people. Yeah, I'd be interested to see the ramifications of that. Having that kind of violence on live TV. It's not a movie or a TV show or something where violence is acted. And a lot of times, we don't see actual violence. When news reports stuff going on, right, in Ukraine or elsewhere where there's violent stuff going on, in most cases they're not showing you the actual violence happening. They're kind of reporting on what happened. But this was a case of like live TV and having violence on live TV. So I'd be interested to see what kind of ramifications that's going to have for all the people watching. You know, is it going to normalize slapping? You know, are people going to feel like they can do it without ramifications because a celebrity did it without ramifications? You know, what's going to be the outcome of it? And I'm hoping it's not bad, right? I'm hoping it doesn't increase the rates of violence. But yeah, and if there is violence, if you are experiencing violence, you should definitely, you know, reach out. There are hotlines, there are people to help. So don't think it's normal. You don't have to be Chris Rock, and you know the show doesn't have to go on. You can stop the show right there, and get Will escorted out of there.
Especially if this leads to other events having further escalations, because people now know they can get views and clicks and likes by doing something like this. So if it's, hey, we're doing the Grammys or the Tonys or some other award show, right? And like, what if a different Kid Rock, goes up there and punches somebody in the face because they make a joke about him, or, you know, he doesn't win or something, right? It's like, well, now I can get back in the limelight and whatever, right? And I know they're not going to press charges because we're all celebrities, right? We're all like, whatever. So, yeah, I think that's a really good point. Hopefully it doesn't lead to further escalations, because there definitely is that, like, there's kind of, like, if Chris Rock had made the joke and Will Smith just said, like, hey, keep my name's wife, or keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth, and that was it, that kind of would have been on par with the action.
Right.
Right? Like, the way I heard it, like, in college, I had a professor, he was an undercover cop for many years, is he's like, he was in, like, gang units and stuff. He's like, a lot of people, when they escalate, they have to go one step above. So, like, if you look at somebody funny, their step might be to, like, mad dog you. Well, then, because they're staring at you and mad dogging you, you go and you punch them. Well, then they stab you, and then you shoot them. And then because you shot them, their buddies shoot your buddies. And it just, like, has to escalate in, like, those, like, sometimes, like, hyper masculine cultures. And you kind of see that here, where it's like, you know, he laughs, he thinks, it's, like, funny, it's innocuous. Jada's upset. Now he's thinking, well, now I have to defend her, right? I got to do something. Now he's, like, all of a sudden having, like, all those emotions at the same time. And then I'm going to run up there and slap him. So, like, you're definitely not thinking about the consequences, right? In that moment, you're just kind of reacting. And hopefully we don't see more planned reactions to things, right? Like, when Kanye ran up there and took away the mic from Taylor Swift or whatever, I think that's what happened, right? And he was, like, talking about how, like, Beyonce should have won. I don't think he really planned to do it, right? He was probably just in the moment, like, pissed off, kind of the same thing. But it also wasn't, like, a physical altercation, right? It was borderline, right? If he had, like, ripped the mic out of her hand or something, or pushed her. But, like, it was just kind of, hey, I'm doing this. So this is kind of like an extension of that, almost, like a more severe version of that. So I think, you know, eventually it's going to turn into full on WWE, where somebody is up there and somebody drop kicks them from the crowd or whatever. And, like, you're laughing, I'm laughing at it, because the entertainment value is like, oh my God, we all know it's fake and bullshit, right? But yeah,
I can already see at the next award ceremony or something, someone doing a skit on that. Honestly, that same night, people, because who was the host for, like, Amy Schumer and a couple other comedians, female comedians, and Amy Schumer came out. She's like, oh, the mood in here is all so different. Did I miss something? And she was, like, making pretty funny jokes about it. So that was pretty good. But yeah, I think it will be interesting. And I hope that people realize that, you know, that's wrong. And that if you are having mental health issues, if that is what this is, you know, go and get help. Don't Don't let the the water fill to the brim where it starts spilling over. And kind of like you said, don't overreact to stuff. React in a like manner. And with that, I think that's the episode for this week. Thank you all for listening. Unfortunately, we can't get famous and be in the news cycle like Will did, because I can't go and slap Matt right now because he's in a different city.
Ow. Ow.
Oh no!
Oh, he virtually slapped me.
Virtual
I didn't even
slap.
say anything.
Keep my podcast name out of your dirty mouth. But anyway, take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.